difference maker sometimes in these big plays. I just want to credit Neo for playing so damn well. He was level 7, 35 minutes in or something like that, and, well, 25 minutes in, because it's not even 35, but the Blink Dagger pickup. From a support, you don't expect those kind of big plays. Still, it wasn't enough.
Sagim, that was an incredible Earthshaker ult. He waited until the BKBs were down. He caught everyone in the Echo Slam.
He was level 10. If he was level 11, they win that fight. I'm just saying.
Gyro had Aegis, though, so I don't know.
Well, he was surrounded by 4 when he came up, so...
It would have been way more interesting if he was level 11. Instead, Gyro fights his way out. The DK barely lives. LGD Gaming, I mean, that was Kabu. Had to go for that. Had to try and make a big play. If he snatches the Aegis there, if Earthshaker's level 11, if the game had gone just a bit better for Rattlesnake, they could have taken this. I mean, they've shown they're capable of beating LGD. But it's one thing to be capable of it, and it's another thing to actually deliver.
Yeah, the execution wasn't there. We talked about Shadowfiend having a very slow start. Kabu on the top lane just completely shut down. And their mid IC generally make big play was shut down early by the possibility of jungle ganks, by the D ward we talked about earlier on. I mean, we saw a lot of these late game team fights, but it's really ramification of early game plays.
Right.
And that's same thing with game number 1.
And that's where LGD is very strong. They love to play defensively. I felt for Rattlesnake, they didn't have to force the issue as much, but we've talked a lot. Let's throw it over to the analysts. Blitz, Purge, your thoughts?
Wow, what an insane game 2 there. I just really felt like the story from LGD there was that their mid player, Zhao 8, as well as their carry player, played nearly flawlessly. And those two heroes have a lot more excuses of staying alive. There was that gank mid on Zhao 8 the one time where he barely ended up staying alive, stealing the haste rune and making plays. But more than that, like, compared to a Shadowfiend, a hero like Dragon Knight and Gyrocopter are just way more forgiving of any mistakes you make.
Yes, Zhao 8 gets a special mention. I mean, he started the game like 5-0. The first blood rotation by him, I mean, every time he rotated, it led to a kill.
Yeah.
He played that game nearly flawlessly. I mean, he also denied the Kunkka a lot of farm. I think at 18 minutes, IC playing Kunkka only at 54 CS. So he was able to actually really limit the effectiveness of IC. On top of that, I mean, that was the way that Rattlesnake picked was for that large fight. Get your Shadowfiend a quick BKB, but he got it around 16, 17 minutes, so they weren't able to fight before that point. Just because, I mean, LGD had a better lineup at fighting early and constantly fighting. Using heroes like Shadow Demon, the Soul Assumption by Visage, they were able to consistently fight, whereas Rattlesnake was kind of relying on that huge one team fight. And we saw, actually, the way that it was supposed to go at the Roshan fight, where they got everything off, and that's how I think they were kind of envisioning most of the fights to look, minus maybe the massive Earthshaker ult, but I mean, they got everything off, but it was just a little too late.
Yeah, it definitely hurt things a bit. I mean, Shadowfiend started off pretty weak, died a couple times, wasn't able to snowball. He got, at one point in the game, he actually had more last hits than anybody else, but comparing his net worths, his team had more kills, they had more towers killed, just a big gold advantage at that point, and it's so hard for Rattlesnake to come back from that deficit when they're that far behind. So I don't know if you have any other interesting points to make. How did you feel like the drafts? You just thought that it was really going to snowball a lot better, more grouping up and big AoE team fights, and that just didn't happen?
I think LGD picked a lineup where they're consistently fighting, which is one thing. A lot of low cooldown spells, things that lead themselves to early game rotations a lot better. Whereas Rattlesnake, both games have kind of gone for that huge, let's go for the team fight. I mean, the first game they picked up, they had maybe one reliable stun in a flame break, minus ults. No mag RP, no bad ults. Before that, so that means their early game is going to be absolutely terrible. They have really little ways to pressure. And then on top of that, I mean, if you land the mag ults on maybe 5 heroes, and then you get your really long cooldown ults off, then your team is, you know, then they're rolling. And that's exactly what they went for again, but unsuccessful. So I think the drafts maybe need to be geared towards not letting LGD get such a good start in the beginning. Otherwise, I mean, LGD has done the same thing. They've consistently taken fights early, then they've pushed the towers. The gold lead is so large that even if Rattlesnake gets those huge wombo combo team fights off, it doesn't matter at all.
All right, well, that was game 2 of LGD versus Rattlesnake, guys. This is for the TI3 Eastern qualifiers. Rattlesnake needs to win 3 to end up taking this. LGD, this could be the game clincher. So we'll be back in just a bit. Gonna have a short break, and we'll be back with game 3.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Game 3 and possibly the final game of the International 3 Eastern Qualifiers. LGD Gaming have looked virtually unstoppable. They now lead Rattlesnake 2-0. If LGD wins this game, they're going back as one of your main event big dance teams to the International 3. Both teams will go to Seattle, but going as one of the main contenders, that's a lot different than going as a wild card.
I mean, LG is saying that sure, you could kick us out, make us play through the qualifier, waste everybody's time. That's basically what they're saying, because we'll cleanly sweep through the group. But I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a 3-0 sweep here. I think Rattlesnake have in them for one more trick up their sleeve. They have to do something now.
I think if they can just have a better start in the laning stage, and that's something Blitz talked a lot about, they could actually take these games. But yeah, LGD have just gotten so far ahead so quickly that Rattlesnake haven't had much of a solution. Maybe that's where a hero like the Spectre comes in, where you fall behind early, but you actually have the late game advantage. Maybe that's where Rattlesnake can make their comeback, or have a better start. Oh my goodness, Gods is already going to be calling GG, because Lifestealer has slipped through. This hero almost always banned, one of the strongest carries in the world, and especially in Chinese Dota. You never see teams give this away. He has been given away. Good news for Rattlesnake if they want a lone Druid. Not necessarily a full counter, but a decent carry option to have to match up against the Lifestealer. He is available.
I could feel like I could write a novel on why Lifestealer is really, really good in this metagame. So I'll quickly kind of summarize, give you guys the TLDR version of it. First, it makes your laning really, really good. You go offensive trialing, defensive trialing. You can even solo Lifestealer because of Rage. He just doesn't get killed. He doesn't get killed. You get a ton of damage early. You get phased. You get drums. You could go Treads or Omelette if you want to go for a little bit more mid game. Also, late game wise, he could set you up a ton of ganks because of Infest. You could jump into your Queen Pain, jump into your Storm, and you just go ham once you just get right next to them. So in terms of drafting, in terms of play, you just give your team a ton of options, and it really limits the option on the enemy side. So that's why he is commonly always banned out, and I'm surprised completely that LG got to first pick him.
For LGD, if they want to, they can pick the Yao Mag here, the Sylar Lone Druid, put the Lone Druid safe lane, run an aggressive tri-lane with a Shao 8 Lifestealer and a Yao Mag mid. And if Rattlesnake lose the laning stage, I would probably say the game's just over at that point. Will LGD go for it? That's sort of your interesting question. Rattlesnake, they've gone with kind of an interesting response. They pick up the Shadow Demon here, obviously a decent hero against Lifestealer. Not really a counter, but a good hero to help control him. You get Juggernaut, which maybe is to discourage a Lone Druid pick, but LGD not discouraged. They'll go Lone Druid and they'll go Visage. They didn't get Shadow Demon, one of the strongest supports as of late in the Asian scene, but they get the Visage, and this accelerates their push. It gives them a strong tri-lane. Rattlesnake, Lumi, the question is, have they given away too much?
I think they have, and what they're getting in return are, I want to say, the second tier picks. You could pick up Juggernaut second. You could pick up Queen of Pain second. I mean, sure, they could ban it out, but there's still some of the more important heroes for them. It's the Magnus you talked about. Rattlesnake could take it away. The Kunkka, it's a hero that they've been using a ton. I just don't know what you do against this.
For Rattlesnake, ultimately, there's definitely been games where they're playing against top competition, and I felt they've been outdrafted, but they pick what works for them, and they snowball.
Right.
If they can have that kind of start, they could win this game. Lone Druid, if he is in the safe lane against an aggressive tri-lane, as well as Sylar played in that one game versus Liquid, generally you tower dive a Lone Druid with 3 heroes, you should be able to kill him. And Lifesteal in the offlane, sure, maybe he is a good start, but we'll see what Rattlesnake do. Also, one thing worth mentioning is we saw Lamb's jungle play, his Enchantress. So maybe this is where Rattlesnake say, we know we'll lose this if it's even through the early game, but we're not going to break even. We're going to try to snowball hard. We'll go for the aggressive jungler, and we'll take the fight to you early.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you look at the lineup from Rattlesnake, very resilient. It's hard to actually lead with Open Wound or Grave Chill and expect to get a kill, because you have Spin, which debuffs everything. You have Shadow Demon Disruption, which helps your allies to escape or survive longer. And then you have Queen of Pain, could just blink out away from trouble. It's just, sure, you'll survive, and that means they won't fall behind.
Yeah.
But that's not the game-winning situation. You need to get ahead against LGD.
And I feel like LGD is just reading Rattlesnake like an open book, because I really thought they wanted that jungler.
Sure.
After the way they started. Shadow Demon, Enchantress, very strong dual roam. Juggernaut can be left alone for the most part off lane. He won't dominate a Lone Druid, but he shouldn't die. He can always Blade Fury out of things like Entangle. Queen of Pain can do pretty well mid, so it looks like they wanted to maybe dual roam or at least aggressive triple lane, but they won't have the option now. The 2 obvious junglers banned out. Where does Rattlesnake go with these last 2 picks? I feel their options are limited.
I mean, if you want to really still do roam, there's option to do so with heroes like Leshrac, Lina, and just basically do a ton of kind of early game damage, as there's people walking in the background and whatnot, somewhat distracting. But yeah, if you want to do
Get
roam,
it together, Lumi.
If you want to do roam, it's still very possible. Like, there's good heroes in the pool for that. But I just don't see you really getting these kills early on against Lone Druid, and more important, Lifestealer. To me, they have to shut down Lone Druid early, because with the heroes they have so far, Queen of Pain, Juggernaut, and Shadow Demon, once Lone Druid turns 6, he's not dying.
And if he does die, you throw literally everything at him, and then Lifestealer and
Any
Visage
single
show.
TP comes up, you're dead too.
Yeah.
So,
and even if you kill him, Lifestealer, Visage, they just have a free reign over your team.
right, so before Lone Druid turns level 6, that is the most important time for Rattlesnake. And that's not really a long window, especially if he's getting like a 1v1 safe lane.
Also, a pocket option for LGD is to put the Lone Druid mid. They've done that before.
Sure,
Sylar, I think Sylar might be the best mid Lone Druid, because he does it more than almost anyone else. You look at teams like the Alliance, you never see Lone Druid mid. Admiral Bulldog's always off lane, and it is a slightly different matchup in terms of how you play it, because you want to rotate the bear to check runes. You try and stay on the high ground as much as possible. You have to be a little bit more worried about things like smoke ganks. Normally, if your team's aggressive tri-laning, it's kind of hard for them to smoke gank you, because, well, then their tri-lane suddenly off the map. But Lone Druid mid, that's always your pocket option for LGD, and might throw Rattlesnake for a loop here, because Lone Druid mid can dominate a Queen of Pain.
Yeah, fine matchup here. Again, that's why you pick Lone Druid early. He just wins a lot of single matchup. You throw him every single lane. Heck, I mean, it's a possibility. You can even throw him in the jungle, which we've never even seen that in the pro game. But
I don't think we'll see that.
It can be done. All I'm saying. He's just a very powerful laner. He could go basically anywhere. We're going to see Keeper of Light, which I don't like, because, again, you want to win early game. And Keeper, sure, if you land like a 2-man Illuminate, that helps you do that. But he's not a hero that get you. He's not a ganker. You don't SD Keeper gank mid. It just doesn't work.
I actually kind of do like this at this point, because they're they're committed to the laning stage, right?
Ooh.
Oh, Nigma. We'll talk about this in a second, but they get this Keeper of the Light, and with Juggernaut, Shadow Demon, and Keeper of the Light, you can push almost anyone off of the tower with Healing Ward, Illuminate, and Blade Fury, and kill the tower quickly. So maybe we'll see Rattlesnake just try to take a really fast tier 1. You can leave Juggernaut there. If he has a tower early, he'll probably phase boots and be very hard to kill. And then they can start rotating Shadow Demon, Keeper of the Light. We've actually seen Team Liquid has shown these heroes can gank, and Rattlesnake, I love this pick. They'll go back for the Storm here. They're not going to win in a farm fest, that's for sure. But if they can get ahead early, maybe they have a great shot at taking this. Early Orchid carriers on the Queen of Pain and the Storm Spirit, that can shut down Enigma. That can shut down your Lifestealer. And with this final pick, if they can win the laning stage, they've got a good shot.
Yeah,
But it'll be a tough laning stage.
That really explains why they pick Keeper 4th. Again, not really a top-tier support in today's metagame, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Rattlesnake down 2 games to nothing in this best of 5 series. Backs are against the wall. They got to win this one. Lamb will be playing solo Miststorm. Has he switched role every single game? I think he has.
Lamb, he's allergic.
Yeah, he really is. IC is going to be playing Juggernaut. We're going to have Sagam or Neo playing the support. Keeper had a big shaker play in the last game. Wasn't really enough. Kabu's going to be playing support Shadow Demon. And we're going to see Luo playing that 1-row Queen of Pain going up top.
Yep, pulled a set of tangos, maybe expecting a 1v1 matchup here, and he'll get one. It's going to be that off-lane Enigma for Xiao 8. And on the side of LGD, we've got the Titans. We have your 3rd place team at the International 2. They are returning. They want to win the whole damn thing this time. Nothing less will do. That's why they made their roster change. That's why they replaced Long DD. What can they do here? Can they 3-0 sweep Rattlesnake? Or will we go to a deciding or to a game 4? We'll have to wait and see. Xiao 8, he'll be playing the offlane Enigma. Sylar, the solo mid lone druid, something they love to do. Yao, your safe lane lifestealer. DDC on the Visage. And last but not least, probably the unsung hero for this team, DD on the Rubik.
Well, he definitely was the very much so sung hero last game because I waxed poetic all over his Shadow Demon play. Let's see what he got for us this game. Now let's look at the Tri-Lane versus Tri-Lane matchup. I think what Rattlesnake wants to do is play it somewhat passive. Just harass Lifestealer to the best of their ability off the lane and deny a ton of their creeps. And the supports, they can't really fight as well as the Dire supports, I feel like. The Dire support have a little bit more range. They have a little bit more spam ability. They don't have the stun, so it's very important for Rattlesnake to stay back, stay in outside of range, and then just harass with their snooks.
I think this is sort of that mystical farming tri-lane where maybe you can get kills, but that's not why you're running it. You're running it, like you said, to pressure the lane, constantly push the lane, and then if LGD do try to pull, you can steal it with things like Illuminate as well as Blade Fury, and maybe they try and get that early tower. Top lane, though, it's going to be tough for Xiao 8 because Luo, he started with an Illusioner, and that makes this matchup way more difficult. It's actually a big deal to get that at level 1, and Queen of Pain already being pulled. She's going to have a much easier time.
I really like Queen of Pain actually going here for the Scream of Pain. If you walk into actually do a Shadow Strike against like 3 or 4 Eidolons, you take way more damage than you actually deal.
And if you get Malefist, you maybe lose half your health.
Right, so instead you're going to max Scream of Pain, and you could actually just farm off those Eidolons. It's not a bad way to go about it.
Lamb, well, he's got a tough matchup. That middle lane, Storm Spirit versus your Lone Druid. Sylar, really so comfortable in this 1v1 mid, and Lamb's doing a decent job so far. He's sitting at 3-2 against Lone Druid, not too bad, but Lone Druid should have the advantage, especially around level 5. If he gets an entangle and Lamb's a little bit too low, that could be your first blood. Something Lamb will have to be careful about from level 5 to 6.
Well, looks like we have a ton of D-Ward action on the bot lane. They're trying to find this weird Sentry Ward. Looks like they have finally found it, so the pulls will happen in just a bit, but as a result, Yao's not really getting too many CS. He's only got 4. And we're on like the 4th or 5th wave, but it looks like engagement is happening. Healing Ward's going to get dropped. It's going to get killed as well. Lift gets back up, and Icy's out of mana at this point here. They want to focus on Kabu. Nice disrupt to actually get away from the Soul Assumption. Will he actually live? That's the question. He won't. He's fighting his way out of there, and Illusion's just not doing any damage. So first blood goes to the defensive Tri-Lane.
There was no Blade Fury. That's why LGD goes in there. They see Juggernaut no mana for it. If he has Blade Fury, sure, maybe they get that kill, but you could have lost potentially your Rubik, your Lifestealer, at least 1, maybe 2 heroes. But with no Blade Fury, their Tri-Lane's too weak. Rattlesnake just caught out of position. Part of it was the Observer Wards as well, Lumi. You mentioned the D-Warding of LGD. That helped set up those kills, or that kill. And now first blood for LGD. Rattlesnake, they need to win this Tri-Lane because it's a hard matchup mid. Lone Druid should dominate Storm before Storm hits 6 at least, and even then should still out-CS him. And top lane, yeah, Luo's doing well, but Queen of Pain, who gets a good start, it's not often that we see her just completely take over a game.
I think Rattlesnake right now says, we're betting our entire hand on the first 10 minutes. If our Storm Spirit, as well as our Queen of Pain, could snowball really out of control, then we have this game won. But if they don't, then it's just a matchup loss, because you're just not beating Lone Druid and a Lifestealer in a game that goes past 25.
And for Lamb, it'll be hard to snowball. It'll be hard not to die because he's eating so many denies, 7 denies mid. Sylar will have the advantage in level, so he'll have Entangle before Lamb even has a whole lot already being chipped apart here. And, well, we'll see the bottle now. He'll need to bottle Crow constantly, which means Queen of Pain won't be getting that much help.
Yeah, he already got the bottle once, so he's on the second bottle Crow, and that's somewhat of the quote-unquote benefit against a Sylar mid on the Lone Druid. He really won't bottle Crow. I mean, he can, but he's not gonna. So you
I don't think we'll see that.
Yeah, you out-regen him eventually.
And we'll see an Orb of Venom now. Love the pickup from Sylar, just getting it early. This will help you harass Lamb, and the bear can just constantly chip away at him. So, Lumi, we now head towards not the mid-game, but the later stages of the laning stage. Have Rattlesnake done nearly enough? They're trailing in terms of gold. They're trailing in terms of experience. Nobody's really snowballing that hard. Queen of Pain is farming well top, but not finding kills just yet. Can they sit back like this? If not, when do they need to make a move?
They're definitely losing right now, but they're not losing so hard where you cannot come back from this. So I think everything...
Sylar's got boots. Lamb doesn't. Lamb might go down here. This could be a disaster if he drops. He drops the Remnant. Beautiful micro by Sylar, but he might lose his bear. He will. Now the turnaround from Lamb. Can he find the kill? The rotation for the support. Sylar trying to find Lamb. Lamb juking. Lamb, what a play. Should have died there. Somehow, against all odds, he turns it around.
Gets out from Juggernaut. He's right back in this lane, and the really kind of chuckling play at the end is every Rattlesnake member walked away from the Lone Druid when Lone Druid was one hit. They're like, you could have the last hit. No, you could have the last hit. But back in the bot lane here, Sagam getting initiated upon right now, and he is going to go down for sure. Disruption, a little bit late. Not going to block that Soul Assumption, and a couple of right clicks going to seal the deal. If Kabu played a tiny bit better, I think they might have been actually able to turn that around, but unfortunately, that didn't happen.
I actually thought it did block it. We're a little bit laggy here, so I'm not sure. But either way, I think he was going down regardless. That's the downside. They did rotate 2 heroes mid, but of course the trade-off is you've left your keeper of the late bottom, and that's where Sagam just has to play back. You can't be getting caught out. When you know that 2 of your heroes from the tri-lane have left and head mid,
they're trying to kill mid right now.
You have to play more defensively.
Sagam's rotating in to give us the Chakra Magic to Lamb. Lamb has a double damage in his bottle. He could actually kill Druid. Druid, by the way, level 5, so that kill really delays level 6.
Not often you see that from Sylar, but a little bit unlucky there, and also just fantastic play from Lamb. And that's so big because now that Lamb's level 6, the chances of Sylar killing him have gone down dramatically.
So we'll see. Where's the Chakra Magic? Sagam's taking his sweet time walking back and forth. Is he not going for it? Or are they not going to go for a kill? You have double damage. I think that's a really safe one.
Maybe worried about a TP rotation. Rubik doesn't have one, however. Visage doesn't have one, so they don't have wards. Maybe they don't know there's no TPs, but if they did, you'd imagine they'd want to go. Instead, they'll rotate off, and now Lumi, now we look at 2 lanes where Storm's winning his lane because of the first blood, and Queen of Pain, well, with the early illusion rune, and also being safe lane and pooled regen, Luo doing his job and winning his lane heavily as well, so maybe they can snowball their way to victory.
Double damage gets activated on the top lane. He's going for a kill, but Xiao says, I don't see you mid. I'm going to back off, but back in the bottom, looks like Invis I see looking for a kill as well. I just feel like that was a really missed opportunity on the mid. Now they're going to rotate here towards the enemy's secret shop.
Look at Xiao 8. He's terrified about this rotation, and he should be because they're hunting him. Can they find him? Lamb's going to head towards mid. No, Kabu, he'll find Xiao 8. Xiao 8's going to walk right into the trap. He's 1 creep from level 6. He won't have black hole. He's going to get blown up. No teleport on your Rubik. I checked that earlier. Should be going down. Will be going down. That's 2 kills for Lamb. And this Storm Spirit is starting to get his legs under him.
Yeah, to me that's a bailout because they shouldn't have gotten that kill. Very unlucky rotation here. Look at that tier, the ward behind the tier 1 tower mid. They're really looking to basically snowball as hard as they possibly can. Sylar, level 6, gets his ultimate, goes up to 1k, even 1.2k HP. How do you kill this guy now with the Storm? I don't think you can.
They're just camping for kills. This is what Rattlesnake wasn't able to do with their early rotations in game number 1 and 2 was the smoke ganks were failing. They just fell behind, but LGD, a little bit unlucky perhaps for Sylar not getting an entangle immediately, but ended up just getting outplayed by Lamb as well. Gives up the kill, and the rotations are working for Rattlesnake. They're going to take a tier 1 top. Not a whole lot LGD can do to defend this. The offlane Enigma, a little bit too easy to gank, so he'll go to the jungle and farm.
This observer sees yellow, DD's walking in. As soon as they see DD, Kabuka's tangled through, and he's dead. So these rotations are coming around. Where's the rotation, Kabu? Still being very patient. They're allowing the creep wave to come on the top lane, and that dive should be free.
Maybe they're waiting to see if there's any supports with a TP. There is a TP on Yao. That might be what concerns them. He'll go in bottom lane. Icy, TP's out a little bit late to do it. He might pay. He barely escapes. Now they go in on DD. There you go. Top lane. The Shadow Strike, I think, actually missed because of the disruption. Does it matter? Maybe it does. DD, what a play. Stuns 2. Not enough. Yao TP's in. There is no disruption. Kabu in worlds of trouble, and he will go down. Malefice was there. They get the counter gank. Well, I think they might have gotten the kill and gotten out if it wasn't for that mistimed disruption.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was close.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it was an okay trade for Rattlesnake. They traded support for support, but they bait out 2 teleport scroll on the top lane. They still destroyed the tier 1 tower, so overall, a very big victory for Rattlesnake. And let's see what item they're going for. Courier flying mid. It's going to be just a small magic wand upgrades, a smoke of the sea being picked up. I imagine it's going to be a quick Orchid coming out from the Storm Spirit. He really needs to win. Again, the next 5, 6, 7 minutes is going to be the testing time here for Rattlesnake.
Early Orchid, that's one of the ways that we've seen teams have looked to deal with the Lifestealer. We saw Team Liquid probably the most creative with their hero choices. Korok would go for the early Orchid even on heroes like Outworld Destroyer, Nyx Assassin. The early Orchid on Storm and or on Queen of Pain, who is clearly going for one already, that could be the game breaker, not only versus Lifestealer, but a lot of these backline heroes. Off-lane Enigma, going mech, won't be getting a BKB anytime soon. Now bottom lane, Yao's gone in. Can he find a kill? Here comes your turnaround. They want DDC. They'll pull him in fast. Can they bring him down in time? He's in trouble, but still alive, able to get away for the time being. One more zip from Lamb. Isn't going to be enough. They do get the kill, but Lamb, Malefist up. Black Hole as well. He will go down, but at least baits out a Black Hole for his trouble. Yao on the hunt. Open Wound's cooling down soon. Icy has Blade Fury. He'll pop it now, and Yao can't find the second kill.
Man, the Radiant team is just so damn tank. We talked about Lifestealer being tank, Lone Druid. Let's not forget Visage with his Gravekeeper Cloak. He's pretty tank as well. Storm threw every bit of his mana at it, and that's just way too long. LG had more than enough time to send yet another TP towards a bot lane shot. He even blows a Black Hole for it. I don't think he needed to do so, but I mean, Black Hole early on, you're not going to get a 4-man Black Hole win a team fight off of it. You could very safely use it as a 1-man kill spell. And
in the end, I don't think he needed it, but I like the idea of just let's throw it in there, make sure we get a kill.
It's like using RP for early one-man kills. It's just safe. Yeah.
10 minutes in, Lumi, we're looking at the closest game we've had so far. By this point, it's usually been LGD up by 3, 4, 5k gold, and they only a 500 gold lead, but this time it goes towards Rattlesnake. They're actually down experience, down 1,500. A lot of that is just Enigma's creep denies in lane, and Rattlesnake running the aggressive tri-lane. I'd say things are looking pretty good for Rattlesnake.
Yeah, they're going to try to kill up top here. DDC will get jumped on very quickly, and there's no war support. Luo jumps in as well. Sonic Wave. Clean, easy kill. Yep. This is what Rattlesnake needs to do time and time and time after again. Storm Spirit, by the way, has a regen rune, so he'll be looking for yet another one. And this ward on the mid lane, pinging dividends. They see DD rotating in. They could probably go for a DD kill. DD himself, though, will be dropping a ward, and we'll now see Storm rotating back mid.
I don't think Rattlesnake have to go for the kills constantly. It's enough to go for them here and there and just farm. Farm your Orchids up, then you can really force the issue. And I'm not sure that there's a whole lot LGD can do to punish those.
Well, I mean, sure, farming is definitely a game plan, but as you're farming against a Lone Druid and a Lifestealer, which, in my opinion, carries a lot better. They're going to try to kill the bear in the mid lane, which, hey, harass is harass.
The bear's going to go down. There is a resummon available for Sylar, and, well, let's see what his bear has. Is Rushy the Armlet coming out soon, but in these fights, at least in the early to mid game, you can just kite around it on heroes like Queen of Pain and Storm. So the Armlet will be great if LGD start to win fights, but by itself, I don't necessarily know that it'll have the impact it normally does because Rattlesnake can just kind of ignore the bear.
Storm Spirit's jumping to the left side, trying to eke across that cliff. A little bit too short on that. And he's looking for a pickoff initiation against Yao, but Yao is so damn tanky.
Now he'll just go to farm, but he's lurking, he's waiting, and if Yao overextends, if he pops Rage bottom lane, that's where Lamb's going to go in. They'll spot out DDC soon. Remnant isn't deployed. They're going to walk right into each other. There's your pull. The Remnant drops as well. DDC getting blown up in a hurry, but is fairly hard to kill. He does have Grade Chill, and in the end, he'll escape. Any other support except Visage gets caught there, and he just dies. But Visage, a tanky beast.
Yeah, kind of a interesting skill build coming out from Storm Spirit. Generally, you leave only 3 points in Electric Vortex and put more points in Overload. Because you only need 3 to actually initiate. Big zip here for Lamb to get the haste rune. Fortunately, as a result, out of mana, and won't be able to gank for a long time.
Well, the bear was coming, so doesn't want the rune to get denied, and he'll pick up the haste rune. May have to go back to heal, but all the while, Queen of Pain, your lead farmer. Orchid is coming very soon. Quarterstaff number 2 is up, already has the Oblivion Staff, and I think they can start finding pickoffs once they get these Orchids. LGD, so far, they've fallen behind. They haven't fallen out of the